All right. So here we are, all shaken loose from the music that we were just dancing on. Ah, that feels so good. That's so great. So thank you for doing that with me and coming into a whole different way of, yeah, in fact, also getting the information about what love appears to be on this planet and the dramatic love songs that are connected to it. But to be able to dance on it and be free of that for a moment is incredible. Then you see like, oh, well, how nice that is that I can even dance on this. Even the story is pretty dramatic, or whatever happened for this artist to make that song. So welcome to the Heretic Healing class. This is the last chapter that we're going to take a look at, and it is coming from the book The Return of the Heretic by Master Teacher. It's transcripts of talks of the first 7 years that he was teaching. And so this actually was the first video I put on the EVHub YouTube channel to listen to. And we're actually closing with it right now. And so it really doesn't matter to me. It is great that we do this chapter now. And everything is related to the idea of love, of human love, of love within a limited frame, of unconditional, infinite love. And the songs that we heard are like you can hear, like we found love in a hopeless place. Basically, that is what happened. That's what's happening to us in this moment when we come together to remember our true identity and to see that that is inherent in us, that you cannot lose that. It's also not locatable. It's also not like it's not happening here on earth or something. It is also not happening in our limited frame of reference that we think that we know, that we think that we know what is going on. That is not the case either. So these things are also, used by Master Teacher to express himself regarding the idea of finding your perfect partner or finding your loved one in limited idea about yourself, and at the same time coming closer to the idea of coming to know yourself and seeing that you are what love is. So it's great that we can take time to take a look at this today. And so I'm going to start to use the chapter starting at page 125. It's say the second half of the tape, of the second half of the talk. I think there are two talks combined in this, and so the first moment, say the first part of this talk, he's basically sharing about human love, about the limitations that are connected to that. Like if you would somewhere, if you think like what is the ideal of love, is going with the one you love somewhere in a remote place in a cabin and go live there, and you'll see that that's not going to work either, because it's still within your limited frame. And then suddenly there's a hurricane and you lose your house and you've nowhere to go, or this or that is happening. See, there's always drama connected to the limited ideas that we hold about our stay here on planet Earth, and looking for love, looking for the perfect partner, looking for someone to be with, and more of this. You know, it's every one of us walks around with that idea in that human frame of reference. It is part of it. And whether you are denying it, whether you are accepting it, whether you are living it, or anything, yeah, whatever the option is for you, and that is all fine. But it's all within this limited frame of reference that you come into relationships with so-called others. So there is a possibility to say develop yourself in letting go of these limited ideas about it and coming into the freedom of and recognition of recognizing the love that you are and seeing that that is not connected to an object, a person, or a situation, or a family even, or a this or that. You know, it's like, no, it is part of you as an extension of yourself. You don't have to project that on an object anymore. And so there are many things being said. So I want to start with the little so the little part that is at the beginning of the chapter, and then I'll go to page 125 because it's a nice part. I'll read it to you as an introduction. The love of God is in everything he created, for his Son is everywhere. Look with peace upon your brothers, and God will come rushing into your heart in gratitude for your gift to him. Okay, so I'll read that again. The love of God is in everything he created, for his Son is everywhere. Look with peace upon your brothers, and God will come rushing into your heart in gratitude for your gift to him. See, and that is a bit of what we were sharing last night too. It's like the idea of the possibility to project or extend the love that you are giving to your brother. You extend that, and you don't project a limited idea upon him like you were used to. But now it's like, no, coming from the love that you feel for your brother, you extend that to him and give that to him. And that can be very directly, it can be indirectly, it can just happen in the way it comes to you. You want to give that away. And in that, everything is different. And in that, you feel not emptiness or not like a limitation at all, but feel the freedom of being able to give that without asking anything in return or not establishing anything out of that. So that's a very nice to realize that and to see that that's a possibility, because before you didn't know what to do with what you were feeling. You know, you would give love to someone and thinking that the necessary step after that would be to be committed to this person, to live or to live a life together, or however that was for you. But you had ideas that you could not just give that, but that it had consequences. And also that made you very much afraid for falling in love, so to speak, because you thought it was connected to consequences, and it had to come into a relation. You had to come into a relationship. See, and the fact that you set that form up in your mind is making it static, making it located. It is happening with that person. It's happening in this place. And see, all of that is what makes it complicated for you to stay in the say in the expression of freedom in that, because see that was always a conflict, giving love and feeling the freedom of that, and seeing that sometimes you would not be able to do that because it would mean that you didn't love the other one, or that, you know, stuff like that. So you would immediately fall into the idea that you are betraying someone else if you love a person. And so these themes are very present in my life, have been very present in my life. I know that's for sure. So I speak from deep experience in this, and to have come to the recognition and the freedom in which I can express that now and can feel that now and can extend that now, that is an amazing gift, and that I love to share with you. And so in any way that I can. But see, the undoing is always then important, because there are just little ideas connected to what you are thinking about this, and where you stop to yourself, and like, no, don't go any further than this, because it will have consequences for my whole setup here. To come into the freedom of expressing your love, just because that is what you are, is a feeling that is really beautiful to see, that your heart can open up without any constriction. In fact, see, that will heal your heart disease, so to speak. That will give you the space that you're looking for in your heart, because it's so nice to feel in loving your brother, that literally, like it says here in the first say poem that's in the book, it's like you feel God ushering into your heart. You literally come into communication. And so that is so beautiful. That is so beautiful, and so practical too. Like, you can practice this all the time. You can experiment with it, and you can use it. You can absolutely use it. Also, to stand still with the feelings that you have, and to let them be there, to let them grow, in fact, and allowing the space for that to happen. So master teacher will touch a couple of aspects in the pages after 125 that we're going to take a look at and stand still with for a moment, just to expand our awareness around the idea of love. And love is not just an idea, it is like, we're not going to define it even. Love is what you are. That's a very general definition of it, and it doesn't put a limit on you. It is the totality of what you are, and that is the beauty of that. So it's not a limitation or a definition. So, like I said, beginning at 125, coming to know the truth of you is a transformative process that has nothing to do with what you finally do in action on earth. And he elaborates on this. A motivation to do nothing will end up exactly in the same stew as a motivation to go out and attempt to do everything. There's no difference in it. You are on this earth and have constructed this earth because of a limited identification of selfness. As soon as you discover who you really are, the earth will no longer be there. Does that have anything to do with love? Yes, it has everything to do with love. Because as long as you discriminate in your mind what constitutes beauty and love and desirability to you, you are rejecting other parts. You are rejecting other aspects or ideas that you have as less godly or less true or less lovable. Because you reject these things from your consciousness, they do not disappear. Because you reject these things from your consciousness, they do not disappear. They stay with you. And it is these things that you fear and defend yourself against. Okay, that's lovely. That's readable, isn't it? So that's just telling you the way that works for you. So if you love something or some aspect of something, then you deny that, say, you exclude something else. That's what this has to do with. And that's why they stay with you, because you have to defend it. You say, like, well, no, I really don't like that. See, and in the human personality structure, that is something that is, say, valued in a great way, if you are very outspoken about what you like, I like this art, but I don't like that art, that almost looks like a little bit of snobby, snobby intellectual behavior. You know, it's like, yeah, it's good if you do that because you distinguish between this and that, and you have good taste. You know, you have a good taste. We say all these things to one another as human beings. You know, you value even the say the judgment of someone on certain aspects of creation of art or what music. So if love is real, it continues here, and I love this. If love is real, and I assure you that it is, if God is a fact, and I assure you that it is, if truth does not require your opinion about it to be true, and I assure you that it is, there could never be any such thing as evil or hate or lack or annihilation or divisiveness or manipulation or needs to identify or needs to perpetuate or needs to defend. So if love is real, and I assure you that it is, if God is a fact, and I assure you that it is, if truth does not require your opinion about it to be true, and I assure you that it is, there could never be any such thing as evil or hate or lack or annihilation, divisiveness, manipulation, or needs to identify, needs to perpetuate, or needs to defend. Are you saying then that love is only non active? Is love agape? Is love nothing but spirit? Is love something that I simply take myself up to some sort of mountaintop and dwell in a kind of samadhi, sort of an ethereal Neverland? Is that what love is? On the contrary, Master Teacher says here, love is amo. Love is totally active with no objectivity. How do you express something like that? Love is the turmoil of consciousness in the act of being fulfilled. Love is the recognition of the apartness, of the loneliness, of the incredible longing, of the need fulfilling itself. Of course. Is it active? It is totally active. Do you think God's love for you is not finally a state of action? Of course. But not action in the idea of reciprocity, but action in the truth of itself, recognizing itself. Is my love for you active? You bet your boots it's active. It's what? It's an extension of me. My what is creation finally if it's not an identification of beauty stemming from recognition of beauty of self or source? Wow. What is it that we share together when we paint Valentines or listen to music? What is it that we share together? We actively participate in the energies or the rays or the fabrics of consciousness. I'll say we do. See, and that's beautiful, the description. Like it's not, it is an expression of what, how that feels. See, it's the funny part of this is all so related to extension, creation, being, that it has nothing to do with objects anymore. See, and then to come into that, you'll have to experience it. Like there's not so much to say about it, except living it, except not being afraid to let that happen to you. That's the same as when we pick up a couple of songs to dance on. It's like let yourself go, just do, just dance, just like that. So there's no need to defend, to describe, to be incredibly self-conscious about this. No, it's like let yourself go, let yourself go, let yourself go. Even ideas about love that swirl through your head when you hear the text of these songs. It is interesting to see, like, oh my God, you can use anything to come home. It is not describing you and putting you into a limited frame or limited action. If you don't let it, just let it go. Just don't take it as a description of yourself. See, in that kind of freedom, in that openness, basically, that's what we're talking about. There's no restriction to it. There's no limitation. There's no, say, no partial freedom in it. No, it is complete and whole, and it is what freedom is. And it is when you feel that you are the love that you are. You just have a recognition then with your true essence. So whatever helps with that. So it is good to read, to listen to Master Teacher, to read this, and just let that wash over you, like the ocean water, as if you would sit in the ocean and let the ocean water wash you over. And because it is not trying to understand it, it is opening up for what it actually says. It is see, it's not necessary to remember this as the concepts that you have to remember in order to remember it. No, the remembrance can take place in this moment by just being open and receptive to what is being given and the energy that is flowing in this instant through you, not through anyone else. It's like it's happening in you, it's flowing through you. See, and it's a very active process, like it's being said here too. It's an active process where you are opening up continuously, more. Like you open up, you let go of your ideas, you let go of your restrictions, of your definitions, and there's more space. And you discover, like, oh my God, there are actually miracles happening in my life. I had no idea that this could happen this way, and that it's that quick, it's so immediate. I cannot believe it, what is happening. Yeah, to me, that's with the music too. It's like you start turning on a song, and suddenly you're there. Suddenly you're in the music. Literally, you forget about everything and you step right into it. So it's like that energy is just flowing through you and gives you the opportunity to move around a little bit and feel the energies running through you. So that's lovely to do that and to experience that as part of your transformational process, to become free of your limited ideas that you hold about yourself and have absolutely no meaning, no function, except you have given it function to say, use that as a way to control your fear, not losing control completely, to dive into the heart of God, but have a bit of a restriction in order to control what's going on. So, and you still think that that has a certain benefit to you, and you have every reason now to let that go and not be defined by that anymore. Ah. Oh yeah, here's a nice one too. Brother Jesus, this is page 127. Brother Jesus in the Course in Miracles expresses it in this manner. He says, you literally cannot see your brother who is standing right next to you. And if you could just for a moment see him, you would see him immediately that you share a brotherhood or a union in Christ and would be home together in your love. All you finally see is a facsimile of your own consciousness, of your own memories. You desperately want to love what's outside of you, but since you have literally, because of your association of limitation or guilt, projected the image out from you because you hated it and rejected it. You inevitably cannot accept the love of your own projections. Of course not. How could you? At best, you can commensurate with them about death. Since, like, he says, you literally cannot see your brother who is standing right next to you. And if you could for just a moment see him, you would see immediately that you share a brotherhood or a union in Christ, and you would be home together in your love. And that's what I have used many times in the teaching too. It's like, if you would see your brother, you would only see a glimpse of it before you disappear into him. It's literally, you're not able to see one another in the beauty and the light that's being presented by him. You actually become one with him automatically. So you start to communicate as one, and you have no opportunity to yeah, to look at each other anymore, because there will not be such thing as perception. See, and that is, you know that this is true. You have been falling in love, and you have been so close to one, and suddenly, like, lose that, lose yourself in this moment that you are together with someone. So, and that you have referred that, like, you have limited that, or you have used that to make an object out of that, with certain characteristics that you now would want to stay with in order to experience that over and over again. And actually, that probably didn't happen. It could be, but it didn't happen continuously, because you fixed it. You wanted to have that as an object. That object, you think that that object gave that to you. Well, actually, no, it was you being so open to receive the gift that your brother is, and disappear into him. And when I say him, it can be her, it really doesn't matter. So you disappear into one another in that sense. And that is where the union, like, the union is expressed. That is where the union is expressed. It is that moment of recognition and the disappearing into light, and seeing that you never left home. That's why we say we actually use each other. We need each other for that, to have opportunities to come into that remembrance, to feel that safe, and to have our consciousness that open, that that can occur. See, and this is something I continuously love to offer, because it is such natural experience, in fact, for you to let that happen. So, and then the limitations that you put on one another are so, yeah, you literally can wash them from the table in that sense. It is so small, and it's like, why would you still hold on to that, to thinking that you need to make an object out of that, like you want to hold on to something outside yourself, what is impossible in the first place. So to come back to the idea of um, letting that be free, and letting coming into the flow of love, coming into the rhythm of that for yourself, recognizing the ones that you are with, the ones that you meet, and seeing that there's a continuous opportunity for you to extend your love into this, give this to your brother, and project literally the love that you are on this, and see that that has an effect, that that literally is a coming together of flames in which you recognize the light that you are. See, now I give a description of it. So that is not what it is either. You have your own personal experience with that. You have your own subjective experience with that. And I totally trust that. So I'm your guinea pig. If you want to practice, you're always welcome to come to me in that sense. So Yeah, that is so great. It's an opportunity. So lose your defenses, let go. You don't have to hold on to that. You don't have to give a description. It is okay to feel love. It is okay to go beyond yourself in that and not being afraid to be hurt this time because of your associations connected to the idea of love. So that's so great. So that's basically what Master Teacher is offering here in this talk that he gives. And so let's see what he says more. 129. Couldn't the universe love itself totally? What else does it do? Wow, the universe loves itself totally. Just take a look at what love really is. Because love, apparently, in the illusion of separateness, appears to attempt to sustain itself, which indeed it does not make it less lovable. Does not God sustain himself through you? I say to you in truth that there are finally no degrees in godliness, that the state of beingness, the Dharma, God's will is the unity and the singularity, that there is as much godliness in this pencil as there is in anything in the universe. The universe is not the sum of its part, nor is my love for you the sum of adding up the various qualities that you have in order to arrive at the conclusion that you are desirable to me. It sounds all so familiar. It's like, oh yeah, I love that about you. I love that about you. Oh my God, I love almost everything about you. But I really don't like it when you do that. And I don't like when you do that. And I really don't like you when you're in that situation and do that. So you have all these little laws that you take with you, all these little you're still calculating basically. So now you're still looking for a calculation. You're doing your statistics, like you want above average as your partner. You want above average as the one that you're going to love. See, within your limited frame, it's very normal in that sense. It is acceptable, and of course you do it like that. But it will take away the possibility for you to completely fall in love and not being, say, limiting it in any way and staying at the same time in your total freedom, because that's that is one and the same thing. It's like love is what freedom is. How nice it would be if you could finally figure out on Earth that everything would either be totally desirable to you or not desirable in any regard. You would then have eliminated all need to judge anything and you would only love. Wow. When then finally, we then finally give to each other the only Valentine that can ever really be given, and that's ourselves. As long as I hang on to any portion of my Valentine, I cannot love so completely, can I? So I give you love and I ask nothing in return because there's nothing that you could give me in return, because it's only through the giving of my love to you that I may keep it and be loved. I love this. I love, I love this. I love this chapter. It is all it was has always been attractive to me to read it. So now and then I pick it out and read it. It's lovely. Like 132, for instance. Once you discover the truth for yourself and it doesn't make any difference to you, you will then begin to extend from you the truth of what you are. You discover that you are me. Who do you think is standing up here doing this? What do you think your brother Jesus finally means when he says in the Course in Miracles that God only has one son? No wonder I love you so much. No wonder I give you everything. Why wouldn't I? Why would I hold on to? What would I hold on to? Nobody can give completely as long as they have a feeling of lack in them. It's impossible for you to love anyone absolutely until you are love yourself. That's another one. That's so great. It's impossible for you to love anyone absolutely until you are love yourself. So this is not like until you love yourself, no, until you are love yourself. So in order to become the love that you are, you know what to do. We have been talking about that. And you're on this path to discover that. Hmm. So you've you have all had your beautiful moments. The moonlight shining on the lake, the bark of the dog in the distance, the wind rustling through the pines, the pungent smell of mustard plant in the meadow, discovering just tiny wildflowers growing out of a crevice in a rock, a big swallowtail in the morning grass, the incredible feeling of lonely nostalgia when an ancient melody plays in your heart. What else would you finally be but divine? Those moments that you feel of completedness and ecstasy and serenity are part of your heritage. They are the real they are the real you. So it will be with you. So it So it is each moment that you allow it to be, not in preparations for tomorrow or next week or next year, a continuation of a limited idea about yourself, rather coming at this moment into what you really are, discovering through your surrender, through your non defensiveness, and the invulnerability of the power that is you. So is he actually saying that you can enjoy the moonlight on the lake and that you can actually say adore the smells of the flowers that you're smelling and seeing the loveliness in everything around you and in everyone that you meet, that you're completely free to enjoy that and that that is the real you loving itself? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely. See, that is so different than many of us have been brought up, even in a spiritual connotation. It's like to think that you have to let go of that, in like to completely let go of all this um, earthliness in that sense. Um, is like a hot item in spirituality, like in spiritual methods or training or something like that. It's like now it has become, now the time has come for you to start to really enjoy that, but make no exceptions to it. So you're going to enjoy that. You are allowed to completely open up, no matter what is happening, without any kind of defense or description about how things should be, just to literally breathe that in and enjoy that and see the loveliness and let yourself be touched by the wind or by the beauty of the movement or by whatever that is. Like this is all inclusiveness, and that does not bind you to earth. No, it is literally lifting you off of this place in that sense. It is integrating it at the same time, but it takes you into the remembrance of your true heritage, like your true home. Everything is going to bring you home now. That is the invitation. All of it is going to bring you home. There's no exception to it anymore. Even a crack in the glass can bring you home. It's like, oh my God, look at that, how beautiful that is. Or whatever it is, it really doesn't matter. Even a pencil can bring you home. Even a cup, what you call a cup of tea, can bring you home. It really does not matter anymore. It is not that you judge or define it, or say put a limitation on it. No, it is free to be itself. And that is the expression. You are free to be yourself. And that's going to be expressed by everything that you're going to meet and encounter. So as long as you do that, you are in a state of freedom. You experience that freedom and the love that you are. At the same time, as soon as if you start to limit it in any way or start to exclude, you feel immediately the emptiness and the lack and the guilt that is connected to that for yourself. So that's why we're on this path to say experiment with. I say experiment because I don't have another word, but you are going on a daily basis, and step by step, you're going to see more and more and more that literally you inherited the kingdom, and that is being reflected wherever you go. Everything will remember you of home. That's amazing. That's amazing. So there's no exception to that. There's no exception to the love of God. We've heard that many times. There is no exception to the love of God. And that is what you are. There's no limitation to you. So, yeah, that's so great. So now you're free. You basically are free to enjoy all of that, to enjoy whatever it is that comes your way. So is that making you excited? Are you loving to hear that? Is that very familiar to you? And do you actually know that that is true for you? I thought it did. I thought it did. Absolutely. So I'm really happy that you are with me here in this Return to the Heretic class, listening to this or being present here in the class, and seeing, look at what is being offered here in a way that we could never have expected, but that's literally a gift given us in this present moment, on such a, say, acceptable level, that what else can you do but step into this experience of heaven on earth, and giving that away to the ones that you meet, and say demonstrating that in the ones that you meet, no matter what it takes. Why wouldn't you want to give it all? Is what Master Teacher says here too. Why wouldn't you want to give it all? You give that to wholeness itself, to everything that you are. So you give that to yourself in your totality. So that's so beautiful. So thank you for being part of this class. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. And see you soon.